Hey, what's going on? I'm Andrew at St. Croix Cards on Instagram, and this is SlabStox FC World Cup show. Welcome in. Glad to have you here. It is official. Ding, ding, ding. End of round number 2. So all 32 teams at the World Cup have finished their second game in group play, and we had some great moments. We had some bumps. We had some bruises. We got a lot of stuff to talk about here today as we look at, what did we see and the impact it might have on the card market. So we got to talk injuries. We got to talk about some fantastic performances. We got to see some fixture results in some really kind of head scratchers. Again, it's the World Cup. I guess we can all say expect the unexpected, maybe. And then we'll finish up with where the standings are currently, who are our goal leaders and en route to that golden boot, and what games can we look forward to in the third set of games. But really, we have to start where we left off on the first episode, talking about this guy right here. If you're not looking at a screen, if you're listening to the podcast, this is Neymar. And we left going, the ankle did not look good. It looked quite swollen. And it is official. He did not make his second game appearance here today. It seems like he's going to be out for the next 2 games or the rest of group play. Thank you for those of you who left the comment and let us know that in the comments. If you do have comments or you have questions, don't hesitate to leave them in the comments below. But Neymar was out here today, and hopefully it is just a group stage that he's going to miss 1 game or 2 games, depending. Maybe there's still a chance. I never rule people out. You get all this news information coming out, and you don't know what to believe until it actually happens. So he did miss the game today. I am recording this on Monday. But hopefully he will be healthy and ready to go when Brazil gets into the knockout stages. The other one is more for me. Man, I really think highly of Nuno Mendes, the left back for Portugal. He's the left back for PSG. And I was super excited to see him on the world stage. And he made it about 40 minutes today, and this was the reaction. If you're listening, he was in tears coming off the pitch. So I was really disappointed, but I mean, people got to see a little bit of his quality. I think just the blazing speed that he has, the decision-making, he's as good going forward as I think he is defensively. So really, really impressed with him. And I did pick up quite a bit of his cards as we got closer to the World Cup. But for me, again, it's not about I'm going to look to get rid of them during the World Cup. I really believe in Nuno Mendes. He's 20 years old. He's got a lot of career ahead of him. And so as disappointed as I am, I'm still a fan of Nuno Mendes, and I'm going to hold those for a little while and maybe even pick up a few more if the prices start to slide based on his injury. So those 2 injuries, really wanted to take a look at it. But we had some results that were absolutely head-scratching. The first one would be Costa Rica defeating Japan 1-0. I did not see this one coming. I don't know if anybody really saw this one coming after Costa Rica lost 7-0 against Spain in their first game. I will be honest, I did not get up at 4 a.m. to watch Costa Rica and Japan. I kind of wish I would have now, but I've started to pick and choose my 4 a.m. games because trying to get up at 4 a.m. for all of them has been a little bit of a challenge for me, and I've got to make sure I'm really quiet. I've got 2 young kids in the house who are sleeping, and if you wake them up, then I'm not watching soccer, period. So really strategic in the games that I'm getting up for, but huge result for Costa Rica, and not just for Costa Rica, because Costa Rica winning this game opens the door for Germany not to win against Spain and still be mathematically able to get into the knockout stages. And so this was the game everybody was talking about. This is the game one of the games I was most excited for in group play. The 1-1 draw, Germany and Spain shared the point. Each got a point from this game, which was huge from Germany. They left it really late, getting that late goal, a late equalizer. But for me, it was really just a fun watch to see how the midfield unfolded for both sides. You got Spain, of course. There's so much talk about Pedri and Gavi For Germany, for me, it's about Musiala and many other people. I wanted to see how these guys interacted and played, and I was not disappointed. I was super, super impressed by the play of Musiala. I thought he just kind of rose to the top of those three young players. And you may disagree, but I just thought, what he's able to do and really was the spark that Germany needed to simply tie the game. I think he was the one that was really pushing them forward. He was the one controlling some of the dribble sequences that he had was fantastic. Really impressed with Musiala and really excited to see, hopefully, him go further in the tournament. Would love to see him in the knockout stages. But again, I look at guys like Pedri and Gavi and Musiala, and I'm just shaking my head. These kids are teenagers on the biggest stage in the world at the World Cup. And it doesn't seem like the pressure's getting to him at all. So really impressed with that game. It was a fun game to watch. 1-1 draw, which keeps everybody alive in that group as well. But I really, we do have to talk about the U.S. men's national team and their tie against England. It was one of those games that everybody, Black Friday, here it comes, the United States versus England, and we got the draw. A 1-1 draw, again, keeps us in the running to get into the knockout stages. But one of the talisman, one of the guys who I've just been super impressed with his defensive ability and his ability just in the center of the pitch as a whole is Tyler Adams. Tyler Adams, 23, and I think he just shows his quality, his leadership skills as captain of the U.S. men's national team. Overall, just his demeanor, even watching some of the interviews and some of the questions that he's been asked, he just handles himself extremely well. Both on the pitch and off. And so I kind of wanted, he didn't score a goal, but he really was, that rock at the back in that midfield. And I thought, what is his pricing doing? And so I just picked 2022 Prism. It's a new, the new set that's released. And I wanted to know where his pricing has been going. And really before the tournament, his Panini Prism World Cup purple out of 199 sold November 17th. So 3 days before the start of the tournament for $30. That sold November 20th on the day the World Cup started. That sold for $31.51, so very little change. But post the England versus U.S. game on November 26th, that 199 sold at a fixed price, not at an auction like the other two, but these are all raw cards, sold for $44.99. So somebody was hitting the buy it now there for $44.99, which is a pretty good increase from the $31 at the start, $31.50 at the start of the tournament. So he's kind of one that I'm still really interested in watching, as the tournament progresses. Where does, guys like Tyler Adams, or where are players who aren't scoring goals but putting in amazing performances, what is their prices going to do as the tournament continues? We do have to talk Messi. Messi was really, really good in Argentina's win, and keeps him alive after that opening loss to bounce back and can get the win. And Messi doing it with its great goal outside the box. Kind of leads Argentina onwards, and that as they beat Mexico. But here is his 2016 select, just kind of showing you price points of, what does a great performance by Messi do? So 2016, 2017 select, this is his red prism out of 199. They are all PSA 10s. Now I have three of them, the last three sales. One sold in August, so August 22nd. That PSA 10, that red out of 199, did $400. October 5th, so we're still a little over a month out, we're a little over a month out of the World Cup. That PSA 10 sold on October 5th for $355. And then post the win against Mexico, November 27th, that same PSA 10 of the red prism out of 2016-2017 select, out of 199, did $294. And why do I bring this card up for Messi? I think it's really important that we see not every performance, not every goal is going to push prices forward. So just being really careful. You see a substantial decrease in Messi and some Messi cards and Messi prices, even though he's performing well at the World Cup. So this is kind of just a, as you're looking, and what I've started to see and notice is it seems to be those, even those numbered cards out of, 150, 200, 299, some of the higher numbered cards, you're not seeing the movement really high. You're not seeing the fast moving cards after a goal, prices go through the roof. You're not seeing that stuff anymore. If anything, you might even see, you know, people who have kind of stationed the auctions to kind of end at key moments, and they're not getting the same amount that they were hoping for, even in the event of a goal or an assist or a great moment. And I think a lot of that has to do with, you know, selling a card in August. The market looked very different in August than it does here at the end of November, early December. So just being careful, do your research, make sure you know where, you know, prices were and kind of trending those prices. Check eBay, sold listings, check Card Ladder Pro, great place to go, really easy to understand information. I'm telling you, if I can understand the information, anybody can understand the information. But Messi, great opportunity. But you do see some pricing, and that does jump. You know, so you got to, it's kind of by a card basis. Here's that Renaissance short print from Topps Merlin from this year, Merlin Chrome, 2021, 2022. This card sold November 26th. That Renaissance of Messi before the game for $89, and then it sold the 27th after that game for a best offer of $175. Now, to be fair, there is a new sale right before I checked right before I went on and wanted to talk about this, and that next sale is down to like $104 again. So you did see this, you know, somebody get in on it because they were excited. You know, it seems that they got in on it. I don't know for sure, but it seems like they were excited. They offered the 175, and now you're seeing prices kind of come back down as well. So just be careful and understand, you know, what you're looking to buy, do the research, be educated, make good, solid decisions. And then, of course, you know, a lot of people are starting to, you know, I'm hearing the buzz around Kylian Mbappe. I absolutely love Mbappe. I'm a huge Mbappe fan. I would go out even on a limb. My personal opinion, I feel that Kylian Mbappe is the best player in the world currently. Now, I know a lot of people will say, you know, the Hollands, and you'll come up with other names, but I just think if you watch the games and you watch and listen to the crowd, it's a different type of atmosphere when he touches the ball. People just assume that he's going to score. He's on a different level. Kylian Mbappe, 2 goals in France's win against Denmark, gets them into the knockout stages. So they're already qualified for the knockout stages. And that puts him at 7 goals in World Cup competition. So the 4 from 2018 when France won it, he's already got 3 here in this tournament. That puts him at 7. And to put that in context, Ronaldo, Messi, I believe both have 8 total World Cup goals. So Mbappe, 23, already has 7 World Cup goals and looking to push France deep into this World Cup tournament. The card that I just kind of wanted to highlight, because again, it doesn't mean, you know, that his cards are going to climb extremely high. His 2020 Panini Select, this is his Euro. This is the Maroon Prism. This is out of 165. Both of these are PSA 10s. One sold in August, the 23rd, for $192.50. And then one sold after the Denmark game via auction for $180. So on November 27th. So you're seeing, you know, relatively similar prices. You know, it has dipped about $12.50, but really you're not seeing this movement north with it. You know, again, that's out of 165. So there's a number of copies out there, whether you want to find it in a PSA 10 or you want to find it raw, but really great performances. But that doesn't mean, again, card by card, that none of the cards are going up in price. And this one really kind of surprised me. I just wanted to kind of put it out there for you. This is 2018 Donruss. This is Kylian Mbappe's press-proof canvas, which means it's out of 25. It is a PSA 10. And this is the same exact card. So it's numbered 14 out of 25. It sold October 11th for $255. And then it sold November 27th, so after the 2-goal performance, for a best offer. So auction on October 11th, best offer was accepted for $699.99. But this card is rare, extremely low pop. Kind of checks a lot of the boxes, and so you do see a good performance, and somebody is willing to pay a lot of money for that extremely rare short print of only 25 copies. And it's an earlier Mbappe. That 2018 is early. And I think, you can see that some cards are going to move upwards in price. I'm really happy for our next one. You got to talk about Robert Lewandowski. You just felt like the weight of the world was on the man's shoulders, as he had yet to score for his country at the World Cup and is able to shake it off, kind of a gift from Saudi Arabia, as he's able to, get that first goal. And I don't know if you saw the pictures. It meant the world to him. I just was super happy for him. And it also makes me think, what is going to happen in the next game? What is going to happen in game 3? He's not worried. He's not stressed. He's not trying too hard to score that first goal. Kind of, the weight is lifted. Are we going to see a fantastic game 3 performance from Robert Lewandowski as they take on Argentina in the next round, I do believe. So I threw up his kaboom from the 2021-2022 Donruss Road to Qatar, and you just see a steady increase in pricing as we go forward. So over the month, it's kind of gained almost $100 in price. It sold October 24th raw for $212.50. It sold November 20th on the first day of the World Cup for $287.83. And then finally, it sold after his goal and after Poland winning against Saudi Arabia for $312 on November 27th. So you see a steady increase in that kaboom prices. Again, all raw, not graded, but really just a fun kind of for him to get that goal. I think it means a lot, and it could mean that the form that he's in that game 3 could be huge, because everything's riding on that game, because it's win and advance. And that's what we're ready for. This group play is coming to an end. It's almost like a knockout game in and of itself, with how many teams are still alive and still vying for those 16 spots in the knockout stage. The other guy that, maybe nobody really knows about, Andre Kramaric, is from Hoffenheim. He plays in the Bundesliga. He is 31 years old. And before really the tournament, at the very start of the tournament, wasn't really a big market for him. Nobody's really talking about him at all, but he does bag a brace for Croatia as they beat Canada 4-2, I believe. And you can see at the start of the tournament, November 20th, I picked the Tier 1 Bundesliga, top Tier 1 Bundesliga, his autograph, which is numbered out of 100, 2021, 2022. November 20th, on the day the World Cup started, his auto sold for $3.78. Now, fast forward to after the 2 goals, November 27th. The first one sold for $19.99, and that's on a fixed price. So it was just up there. Anybody could have clicked it and said, yeah, that's the card I want. And then a second one on November 27th as well, fixed price for $25. Somebody clicked the buy it now. And so you can see that, these outliers, these players that really don't get the hobby focus, I think is important to kind of see moving forward. Last episode, we talked a little bit about Richarlison for Brazil, and he gets those 2 goals, and you see a lot of movement. Not only, you see some movement in his card prices, you also saw a movement in his Instagram followers too. I think I saw that 4 million people followed him on Instagram, which is just crazy to me. But you can see with Kramaric as well, nobody really had, locked in on him, and he puts in a good performance, and you go from really low value to a value of, you're making good percentages on the cards as a whole. So I just wanted to point him out, another brace, 2 goals for him, and you did see movement in his pricing. So that auto kind of went up quite a bit over time. Last one that I do really just want to highlight, and that is Portugal's Bruno Fernandes, as the 28-year-old puts in, again, a brace today for Portugal. You can make the argument. I would love to know your comments. Was it a Bruno Fernandes goal, or was it Ronaldo's hair? I think that'll be the talk for a while. But it was great to see him, get on the score sheet twice, as he looks to kind of help Portugal en route to those to that knockout stages. I picked his landmarks from 2022 Prism World Cup, and you can see that there is a slight movement, nothing crazy here over the past, the 27th, but before the game today, that landmarks out of 2022 Prism World Cup sold for $187.50. After the game, you saw one sell for $199 best offer, and then you saw another one sell for $200 best offer. And really what I'm doing here is, if it's best offer, people are making offers on these cards, and it's different than the auction price itself. But really, it's only again about $12.50 difference between the pre-game and the post-game. But again, it is a group stage game. I think that's what we all have to keep in mind. A lot of people, are kind of gearing up for the knockout stages, the games that will propel countries further into the tournament or send you home. And so you might not have seen massive movements in cards. That Mbappe out of 25, that is a massive movement in that card. But again, across the board, you haven't seen a lot of the movement. I think you're going to see my own thought here now. I think you're going to see card movement as players get deeper into the tournaments. I think we see that in other sports as well. As you look at, quarterback prices in the NFL, as they get closer to the Super Bowl or they get to the Super Bowl, you see those prices rise. And I think we're almost to that point as we're in the third and final game of the group stages, which all starts tomorrow. So we got to go top scorers here as we look at the top scorers of the tournament so far. And there at the top of the list is the 23-year-old himself, Kylian Mbappe. I cannot say enough about him. His card prices have kind of slid a little bit in the past months, and I think there's a lot of negative press around Kylian Mbappe. As you look and, was he going to leave this summer? Yes, no. Is he going to go to Real Madrid? Is he going to stay at PSG? He ended up staying at PSG. And then you saw this huge story about he's unhappy at PSG. He wants to leave PSG. And there's just a lot of press. And what I've learned, as an Arsenal fan, and transfer news and the transfer window, if we got every player we were ever linked to, we'd have 150 players on our team. It just, I've kind of learned you can't believe everything you hear or the breaking news even, all this, this new stuff. You see Messi on this list too with 2 goals. Is Messi going to MLS? MLS is getting Messi going to MLS. And then, can you really believe those stories until it actually happens, until it actually says, this is what is going on? I don't trust it. I just don't. So until I see it in the starting lineups, or whether I see, pen to paper, new contracts or transfers, I just kind of try to pump the brakes, as excited as I could get, at being like, what, if Messi comes to MLS, I can go and watch him in person. That would make me extremely happy, but I'm not going to go super excitement mode. I don't want to get my hopes up, because chances are that story is going to change 3, 4, or 5 times before it comes to what is actually happening. But Mbappe's at the top of the list. Valencia, Enter Valencia for Ecuador, is also at 3 goals. And then you got a laundry list of guys who are at 2 goals apiece. And some of them are looking to make those deep runs. So, you guys got like Messi and Olivier Giroud. Bukayo Saka's still there with 2, even though he didn't score against the United States. Cody Gakpo, I think I mentioned that as he's there as well. Ferran Torres is there. Morata's there. A couple Spanish guys there with their 7-0 win against the Costa Rica, and they picked up that that draw against Germany as well. So a lot of scores and a lot of scoring to be done. It's not over. It's not even close to being done. Some of these guys, if you want to win the World Cup, you gotta get out of group play, and then you got to win in the round of 16, the round of 8, the round of 4, and you got to get to the final. So you got 4 more games that you have to win or to advance, and there's a lot of football left to be played. So let's look at the groups as a whole. Now this is just kind of a collective. Let's bring it all back around and see where do we stand as we enter the 3rd group stage game. And you can see that a lot of these, if you're looking at it, if it's in green, if their countries are in green, it means they're already on their way to the group stages. If you're listening, that would mean France, Portugal, and Brazil are the only 3 teams that are guaranteed to be in the knockout stages. Everything else is up for grabs. And really, for me, as a fan of the U.S. men's national team, my focus is looking at Group B. As you see, England topped that group with 4 points. Iran has 3. The U.S. men's national team has 2, and Wales has 1, which is leading to that really, really big game tomorrow. I'm already starting to kind of get nervous about it, kind of sweating it out here as we're looking forward to the U.S. and Iran who go toe-to-toe tomorrow at 1 o'clock. I also found it interesting, and I kind of like it, is you don't see the 4 games, the 4, the 7, the 10, and the 1 here, central time zone for me and what I've been kind of watching, or my watch times. But here you have the groups who kick off together, which I think is, it's smart when you think about it. So, when the United States kicks off against Iran, you also are at the very same time have Wales taking on England. So those are happening simultaneously at 1 o'clock, so that you kind of limit the opportunity to be like, well, here you can move on kind of thing. So we kind of see that play out as a whole. But also Group C, as we look at those groups, Argentina has clawed their way back into contention to move on into the knockout stages with that opening loss against Saudi Arabia. And now they take on Poland. So win, and they officially will move on into the knockout stages. France has looked really, really good in their first. So I wouldn't say really, really good, but they've gotten to victories. They've moved on, and I think they're watching them as a team, they play pretty well together. I know that midfield is still a question mark. But I've been really impressed with Tchouameni in his play in the midfield as a young midfielder on the big stage with France, who has aspirations to win this thing. He's held his own and played really, really well. And even the front three, as they've played, Griezmann has looked extremely good and very, very bright and lively. So to see them kind of in a position to see maybe who else is on the bench, as you look at maybe a couple other guys coming off the bench to get a couple spot starts here, you can see what else you have with the depth. Group E is also very, very interesting as you look at Spain, who tops the group with 4 points. You do have Japan at 3, Costa Rica at 3, and then Germany does have that single point. But it's going to come down to this, as Japan and Spain need to play, and Costa Rica and Germany. So if you look Germany, I don't know, does Costa Rica have another upset in them, or does Germany kind of pull a Spain and really take it to Costa Rica? It's going to be really interesting to see how that all group plays out. And then finally, it's a 3-team race in Group F as we look at Croatia, Morocco, and Belgium. All could take it. All 2 of those 3 are going to move on, but it's going to be really an interesting kind of set of group games as well. We already got Brazil in Group G. They're moving on, and it's going to be all about getting Neymar healthy, because I think they need him, his ability, his technical ability, his game-changing ability. And so to be fully fit, or as fit as he can be on that ankle, I think is going to be extremely important. And then finally, Group H, you've got them vying for 1 spot. Uruguay, South Korea, and Ghana are playing for that second, to finish second in that group. So there's so much to play for. There is so much on the line. And I'm interested to see kind of who do you want to move on? What do you want the storylines to be as we move into the end of group play and knockout stages? Because this is really where it kind of changes. The World Cup is 2 tournaments, in my opinion. You have the group play side of things, which we've just kind of experienced, 4 games a day, and we just get, football upon football upon football upon football. And now, we get the knockout stages where it's tactically a little different. You kind of change, where it's win and advance. There's no room for error anymore. You can't pull an Argentina and lose another game, or you're going home. And so the kind of the second part is about to kick off, and I think that's where the tensions are high, and I'm just hopeful that the U.S. makes it in it, because that's the game that all eyes will be on that game tomorrow. That game tomorrow is huge for the U.S. men's national team, and I'm hopeful, that they are able to pull out the win, but I think it's going to be challenging. I think it's going to be very, very difficult for an Iran side that doesn't need to win to get out of the group. I wouldn't be surprised if they really packed it in, if they really, kind of played a little bit behind the ball, was ready for counterattacking football and to catch us out. And, because we have to win. There's no other, we can't tie. We have to win in order to advance. And so I think that there's going to be some opportunities for Iran to capitalize on that. And I went back all the way into the road to the World Cup. After those friendlies, I was extremely upset. And I said, I really don't love tactically how we play. and I don't think we're going to win a game in the World Cup. And we are on 2 draws, and we still have not won a game in the World Cup. Now, I hope that I am wrong. You know, I'm okay being wrong. I'm wrong a lot. I've said that before. But I hope that I'm going to look back and be like, oh boy, I was wrong. And the United States makes a deep run in the World Cup. But I'm really hopeful tomorrow for a positive result, a win for the U.S. men's national team, and gets us into the knockout stages. As we look a little bit further, again, I do want to highlight that Argentina-Poland game. A lot that's on the line there for both teams as they both look to get into the knockout stages. And then finally, last but not least, Group H. I'm interested to see kind of how Uruguay and Ghana finish out. I think those are the 2 teams that are really going to be buying. I was impressed with Ghana's win here, 3-2 over South Korea today, and it was a fun game to watch. Mohamed Kudus from Ajax had 2 goals in that game. We didn't even talk about him today, but he looked really good. And it would be really great to see Ghana move forward. Maybe it's the Thomas Partey in me that I want to see him get into the knockout stages. But I don't know about you. I guess at this point I'm looking to see what was your highlight of round number 2. What was your highlight in this set of games? What's been your highlight for the World Cup so far? There has been so much entertainment. It's been so fun to kind of go back and forth with people, in DMs during games. It's been fun to, just chat with friends who are watching the same games that I am. It's just been a fantastic time to be a part of the soccer community, the football community. I think, you see it in action over there as fans from other countries interact, but you see it here too as we have an opportunity to interact with one another. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. We will have the 3rd and final group episode coming at the conclusion of all of these next games. But I just really want to say thank you. Also, if you have any questions, if you've listened this far, if you have any questions or players you want us to discuss on the World Cup show, drop them in the comments below. Send me a DM at St. Croix Cards on Instagram. I'm Andrew. Just say, hey, I wonder if you considered this, just whatever you're thinking about in the World Cup. Let's talk a little bit about it and spend some time on this podcast, on this show, to kind of touch on that, because really this is about you. This is about, information, education, and making good decisions as we look to buy soccer cards, football cards. So I hope you enjoyed. Again, have a wonderful round 3. Enjoy the games, soak it in, take it in. It is the World Cup, and we will see you on the next episode. Make it a great day, everybody.